Well, good morning. It is Saturday, October 9th, 10th, whatever that Saturday is. Should have looked. Now I don't know. Something around there. And here's our project. We've got some updates. More than a kind of a day 9 thing going on here, but this is our 9th video, and I was going to try to do some update last night, and it got dark, and it's like too dark to film. So here we are. Let me show you around. Alright, so some of the things we've been working on the last few times we've been out here is we put this landscape fabric all around the outside edge here. We've got a BCS 853 with a Berta plow we used to kind of carve the outside trench here, and then we put a 4-foot landscape fabric down. We just put about a foot to the inside on the long ends, and a couple feet, maybe a little less than a couple feet on the ends, and that allows us to build these ends on top of the landscaping fabric. And I'll show you that on the other end where we're actually got an end getting built. We've got the hip boards and the base boards all on. So a little note about installing the hip boards down here. The way this is going to work, there's an eye bolt that is going to go in here every other post, and then up top on the opposite post there's a hanger that fits in here, and there'll be a rope. It'll start down here, it'll come up, go through this hanger, down through the next eyelet, up to the next hanger, down through the next eyelet, and the curtain will be behind that. And then so that allows that curtain to roll up or roll down without ever being able to blow in and out. The rope kind of stabilizes that, so that's pretty cool. Another note on these metal baseboards, you can see on the end here we start it just a little bit past the pole, but pretty much at the pole here. Then when we get to the middle, just a couple of the Tech screws, and then when we get down here, this is where the metal baseboard ends, and it's not a seam that you end up with, you get an overlap. Then, next one starts here. I mean, it goes to a couple screws in the middle one, and they overlap again. And that's really nice, because then one pole being off by a ½ inch in some direction is not going to kill that. And the other thing about those is you want them at the ground level, that's true, but they need to be level, because when you roll that side up or roll it down, when you roll it down, it's going to roll down, it's going to sit right here. You can't have the other end being 3 inches higher than this end. So what you have to do is figure out where along here is your high point, because all these posts are level at the top, but the ground may come up and down a little bit, and that's what ours did. Our high point happens to be in the middle on both sides. Both sides don't have to be the same. This side is actually going to have a shorter curtain by 3 inches or whatever than the other side, but you have to find your high point. And so what we did was we took our high point, we measured from the top of the baseboard to the top of, right here. That's a good measuring spot. And we found that measurement at that end, in the middle, and on the far end. And we found out that the middle was the highest one, or the shortest from here to the hip board, or the baseboard. And that was our measurement, like 40 inches or something, whatever it was exactly. Then you start at one end and you go 40 inches from here down to your baseboard everywhere. That keeps it level with the hoop house, not level with the ground. Otherwise these things are going to go up and down, and it don't seem like a lot, but we even had the tape measure get off by a ½ inch on the other side in the place, and you can see it. And I don't think it's going to bother much, but it's unfortunate we did that. But that's how you get your baseboard to be level or consistent all the way across. And in the middle, we're tight with the ground. As you can see, as we get over here towards the end, where it's a little lower, we got 2 or 3 inches. We'll figure out what to do with that. I don't know if it'll be dirt or, you know, something that'll kind of fill that in. But we do need that to be level, and so that's what we have across the project. That one over there is level with itself, except for way down at the other end, almost where that wind bracing is. If you get anywhere near it, you can see it's missed it by ½ inch in one time. And so that's how that is. It'll be fine. See that all the way around. And so where we got our trench filled here, and we dug all the gravel out of it. We needed to do that before we get both ends on, because we needed to be able to drive in here and dump the dirt without having to haul it all around manually. So that's going good. And our inside landscape fabric will actually meet right up to that baseboard, kind of cover those areas where we you know, sliced it to bring it up to the pole. We've been dry all summer, really dry for a long time, and then now we start getting some rains. Yesterday when we were working out here, we got a little sprinkle, and it's like, oh, it's gonna get more, and so we ran inside and took a break. And then we came back out, it didn't really rain. And then finally we just said, a little sprinkle, don't worry about it. And that's when it downpoured on us. So it goes. And then we actually took a big break, and then we got back out here, and before dark we got some of this end wall up. So our end wall, just for anybody ordering a Yoder kit, comes with this base piece, and for shipping it's a little too long for here, so they put it into halves, and not halves, but you know, parts. So a couple things about this. There's a rebar that's about a 4-foot long rebar with a kind of a T thing welded on it. And there's holes for that, so we strung our string across real tight. Then we kind of knew where the end wall goes, so it doesn't warp in or out around, you know, so that this isn't sitting too far out, like out here where my foot is. It needs to kind of line up with the wall, which it does, because we tightened that string and used that for a guideline. And so then we drove those rebars into the ground to hold the center. Right here's where the split is. Again, they would have done a single piece, except for just I guess too long for shipping, whatever that means. So those fit together. Got to put a screw in there somewhere, but the whole thing, when you get it, these two pieces end to end, is too big. So it was like 1.5 inches too long. So then you mark it and cut one end off. Use those angle brackets to hook it to the sides. Let's see, over here we've got trench going. We got to clean that a little bit. It kind of got to be a sloppy mess after the big rain yesterday. But we're going to run our water line, and we've also got electric over there. So we're going to run that in here, and it will mount on this back wall. I believe all the runs and stuff will be on solenoids and stuff from back here is kind of my plan. The end wall pieces, I think, are still too tall. Even if you pound your ground posts in the right height. I think our ground posts are probably in an inch, or well, at least 1 to 5 inches too deep, depending on which side we're on here, which makes our hoop house just a hair shorter than probably it normally could be or should be, and that's fine too. But then when you get these pieces out, the instructions show this is an 81, which is all the way up even past here, so you got to cut them off. I was using a Sawzall to cut those off, and I'm not impressed. I'm going to switch over to an angle grinder. I could run each one of them back up to the garage and cut them with a chop saw. Maybe that would be better. But anyways, they've got this stub pipe. This stub pipe goes down to about here. It's, I don't know, somewhere in here. And then just put one screw to fasten those together. It allows it to connect to this band, brace band, I think they call that. I don't know if I'd lost a few Yoder bolts or they're in a bucket somewhere around here or what, but I couldn't find them, so I just ran to town last night. These are too long. I've got some shorter ones now, so we'll do the rest of this with. And somewhere in here, our louver fans are going to go. And it may possibly belong in this next space. Not the louver fans, the louvers. This is the west end. And we're going to put our power fan on the east end above the door. So we got to get that all going today too. But yeah, this wall stuff is not hard. And it's not even really going to be that time consuming. We just got started on it. It's nice to have the tractor with the pallet on it to raise me up and let me attach onto the hoops there. So we'll get both ends on today. The other end has, you see the spacing between that and that is, I don't know what that distance is, but then this one's a 4-footer, so you could put a door in here. This end doesn't have a door, but the other end does, has a 4-foot door is all we did. I know a lot of these hoop houses you can drive a semi into them if you need to, because put these giant doors on it and double 4s or sliding or roll up or whatever. We just did a single 4-foot door that'll be big enough to open it up and get the BCS in here for anything like that. Otherwise we can open it up and carry whatever we're doing in or out. I think we'll be fine. The other thing that I don't know if I'm going to do it or not is I thought about digging out a spot here and putting a concrete entryway in ground level, so that when we build this end wall, right where that door goes, there'd be a concrete pad. I think I can really do that at any time. I don't think that's has to be done now. So if we do it, it'll be later. But yeah, this thing's really looking cool. I like how it's going, and so we're going to work on, like I say, the end walls today. Oh, and then the last thing that happens after the end walls is there's this channel, except there's a single channel. You run it down this pipe. You start screwing it down here and bend it around and run it up and over on both ends. And then that's where your plastic ties into. And then this space here, a lot of, I've seen it done on a lot of them, where they take just this first space and they put another channel here. And then this is a permanent plastic blocker. And then when you roll your sides up and down, it helps it to sort of seal, I guess. I don't know. I'm thinking about doing it for 2. Run an 8-footer. So put a channel here on the second pipe, and then do this much of a blocking plastic. And then we've got the same kind of pipe that those purlins are made out of up there. 6 chunks of it lays along this fabric. and then as you there's a special channel that you screw to that, and then once your plastic's on here, that pipe has a channel on it. You wiggle wire that to the plastic, and then you start rolling it up, and it rolls up and down the side to let the air in and out. During the summer, if it's too hot, you raise it up, let a little breeze come through, and that's what's left. Then we'll get the big approval for the big boss, I guess, and then we'll be done. We're working on it. Stay tuned. There'll be more videos. Big day today, I hope.